How could the world look by 2050 if nations stopped thinking about the moon as a destination and started treating it like a construction site? Imagine China and Russia deciding that the next great strategic outpost would not be built on Earth, but above it. Not a science fiction city, not a glowing fantasy colony, but a real, harsh, industrial lunar base, assembled piece by piece through one of the most difficult engineering operations in human history. Today, we created a hypothetical visualization of what that could actually look like. This is not footage of a real active moon base construction project. This is a speculative scenario built around a serious question. If China and Russia were to build a joint base on the moon together, what would it really take? And more importantly, what would it look like step by step? Because the truth is, a lunar base would not begin with giant domes and finished stations. It would begin here, on Earth, with launch pads, heavy lift rockets, orbital assembly, cargo priorities, life support planning, and brutal mass constraints. Before a single structure touches the lunar surface, everything depends on transportation. The first phase would be launch coordination. Separate rockets, separate systems, separate modules, all needing to reach orbit with almost no margin for error. Crewed spacecraft, cargo vehicles, propulsion stages, fuel reserves, docking hardware, communications packages, surface rovers, excavation machines, power systems, shielding materials, and habitat sections would all have to be launched in a tightly sequenced campaign. And that is where the scale begins. From orbit, Earth would already look small compared to the machine being assembled above it. A real lunar base mission would likely require something much larger than a simple crew capsule. It would need a transfer vehicle built in space, a kind of deep space transport stack made from multiple docked modules. Crew sections, cargo sections, power systems, navigation hardware, docking nodes, and propulsion stages, all combined into one structure, designed not for elegance, but for survival. That is the first major reality of this idea. You do not just go build on the moon. First, you have to build the vehicle that can carry the builders. And once assembled, that spacecraft would leave behind one of the most extraordinary views imaginable: Earth from deep space. Not as a map, not as a graphic, but as a real world, hanging in black silence, oceans and storms, swirling across a thin, fragile atmosphere. From that distance, every border disappears. But strategy does not, because a joint moon base would not be built only for symbolism. It would likely exist for science, for technology testing, for prestige, for long-term strategic presence, and for proving that a permanent industrial foothold beyond Earth is possible. Then comes the second phase, lunar arrival. Not the base itself, just arrival. Even reaching the lunar surface safely is a major engineering battle. Landing heavy cargo on the moon is nothing like landing on Earth. There is no thick atmosphere to help slow descent, no easy resupply, no room for repeated mistakes. Every module would need to land precisely, close enough to the planned site to be useful, but far enough apart to avoid catastrophic dust damage during arrival. And the most likely destination would be a brutal one, the lunar South Pole. Why there? Because the South Polar region may offer some of the most valuable conditions on the moon. Long periods of sunlight on elevated ridges for power, deep shadowed craters that may contain frozen water, rugged terrain, difficult access, and enormous engineering challenges, but also the best chance to support a long-term outpost. That is why a real lunar base would not begin as architecture. It would begin as logistics. The first machines on the surface would probably not be astronauts planting flags. They would be survey rovers, cargo handlers, excavation systems, mobile power units, and robotic construction platforms. Their job would be simple in theory and brutal in practice. Prepare the site, unload the hardware, map the terrain, and begin the first cuts into the regolith. And lunar regolith is not soft dirt. It is abrasive, electrostatic, jagged, and dangerous to machinery. It gets into seals, joints, hinges, radiators, and moving parts. On the moon, dust is not background texture. Dust is an engineering enemy. That means every phase after landing becomes a fight against the environment. If this joint base were truly built, the early structures would likely look raw and ugly. Buried cylindrical habitat modules, utility trenches, power corridors, regolith berms, radiation shielding mounds, reinforced airlocks, cables stretched across compacted ground, solar fields placed across ridges with the best access to light, communication towers drilled into the surface, everything functional, nothing decorative. And that is exactly what makes it interesting.